hau ki te uru, whakataka hau ki te tonga, kia mākina kina ki uta, kia mātaratara ki tai. E hi aki ana, te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei, mauri ora. No mai haere mai ki a koutou katoa. Ko Karen Driver, toku ingoa. My name is Karen Driver. I am facilitating this webinar. I am a member of the Nelson Tasman Climate Forum, chair of Zero Waste Aotearoa, and one of the coordinators of the Nelson Repair Café. I am here today with some of my colleagues to talk about the repair-focused initiatives that are happening in the Nelson Tasman region through involvement with the Nelson Tasman Climate Forum and our members. I'll introduce each speaker as they appear, and we will have time for a question and answer session after the last presentation. There's a Q&A option at the bottom of the screen, I believe. Where you can add any questions, and if we do have time during the presentations when someone else is talking, then maybe we'll be able to actually answer some of those questions in the Zoom. Anyway, so thank you very much. We are recording this presentation, and we can send the slides to you after we've finished. So our first speaker is Joanna Santabarbara. Joanna is the amazing co-chair of Nelson Tasman Climate Forum and one of the founders of the Motueka Repair Café. She's on a rest of life mission to cut waste by cutting consumption. Less is more. Over to you, Joanna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Can you just enlarge the slide image on the screen that you're sharing? It's quite small at the moment.
Oh, is it? Okay. I don't know how to do that.
While you're working on that, I'll just set off on my few-minute journey here. Tēnā koutou. So we'd like to tell you about the development of repair cafes in our region. Our overall goal is to reduce our adverse impact on nature by making repair part of everyday life and nurturing a community to carry that value forward. We're part of a broader movement that includes many other components like tool sharing, textile rescue, food waste reduction, etc. So let's zoom out for a moment to look at this very big picture. I'll start with an assertion that we humans are extracting vastly too much from nature, more than nature can cope with, using and discarding it in ways that further degrade nature, and we've got to stop. A shorthand term for this extraction and discarding is material throughput. And how much might this be? An average New Zealander uses 21 tonnes a year of stuff extracted from nature, according to the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, Simon Upton. And what is this? Well, about 7 tonnes, which you can see represented there, is plant and animal stuff.
I'm sorry,
so
I can't get food
and wood and natural textiles. Then, can you change the slide, please, Karen? Another 7 tonnes is rock, gravel, and sand. And you might say, well, I don't use any rock, gravel, and sand. Yes, you do, for roads and buildings and so on. 4 tonnes is coal, oil, and gas. So that's our fossil fuels that we're using. Also, our plastics and our plastic textiles, which I bet most of us are wearing a bit of at the moment. And then the last 3 tonnes is metals, iron, copper, and gold. And that's our vehicles, our appliances, our machines for making other stuff. Yeah, if you just go through those columns, so there's the fossil fuels and the metals. So there's our 21 tons. Some of all of this we'll use for a few hours, like the plastic bag to bring our vegetables home, and some of it will last a century, roads and buildings. But all of it is extracted from the earth and eventually becomes waste, most of which increases the degradation of nature. And we in this group know it's got to stop. If you raise your eyes from the screen for a moment and look around you at what bits of your 21 tons are in view, your clothing, computer, lamp, table, furniture, walls, floor coverings, all destined to become waste at some point. I want to show here how repair fits into a system of organizations all working towards living harmoniously with the earth and its myriad amazing species, and how working from one part of the system, repair, we can support the whole grand effort. And I'll use the waste hierarchy to show this. If we can have that slide, Karen, familiar to all of you. And let's focus on the top of the hierarchy where we all like to begin. We need to rethink the economy that pushes us to continually consume more. We need an economy of enough, Jeanette Fitzsimon's term. Decreasing material throughput, decreasing our energy demand, and thus our greenhouse gas emissions. We need to redesign our things so they're durable, repairable, and made of natural materials. We need to stop making and buying things the earth can't metabolize, plastics, and reduce consumption of fossil fuels particularly, but of everything in general. We'll have fewer, possibly more expensive things. We'll maintain them better and repair them when needed, ensuring much longer lifespan of our things, lessening material throughput. Repair cafes and mending circles where you can learn the skills of repair. And an important note, many of these earth care activities bring us together and create community links, which we so greatly need. Now, to zoom in on Te Tau Ihu, the top of the south, where the Nelson Tasman Climate Forum has been pushing forward the repair movement as part of the system of cutting back material throughput, energy demand, and greenhouse gas emissions. The Climate Forum has nurtured repair cafes in Nelson, Motueka, and Mohua, Golden Bay. We have eyes on other possible venues too. We start by creating a little nucleus of interested folk and proceed to identify potential skilled repairers. We connect people to the immensely helpful manual from Repair Cafe Aotearoa, New Zealand, on setting up repair cafes. Then we try to get a little funding from one of the councils, and we seek to link council, iwi, businesses, and ordinary folk in this effort. And now over to my colleagues to say more about this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joanna. That was awesome. So I'll talk now about the Nelson Repair Cafe. So can you see the screen, the screen, the presentation?
Right now I can see the waste hierarchy.
Okay.
Good.
Has that moved on?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll talk about the Nelson Repair Cafe. Our cafe was born out of the Climate Forum and made its first appearance as a sort of test drive in 2019. It was organised by one of my colleagues, Julie Evans. It It was started because of a desire to protect Earth's resources and a desire to grow community. There is another repair cafe that's not involved with the forum. It's run by a local church group, and that's focused on textile repairs, and it's run weekly. And we pass our customers to them if they need something done urgently, and we can't do that. So in 2021, Council held their first repair event, Fix It Saturday, which was supported by our volunteers, and then we started our first regular cafes at Habitat for Humanity in Te Hununui. We used the how-to guide developed by the community or by the Auckland community groups, and then fed into the development of the Repair Cafe Aotearoa manual. That was done by Carlo, one of our coordinator. We soon converted that to an electronic system to record customer and item details. We originally did everything on paper, and using electronic system has worked really well for us and helped ease the management of data. And that sets us up nicely to enter our into the Restarter database that gives us and the national organisation great insight about how we are tracking. In 2023, we provided input into the Repair Cafe manual. Our cafe is now held once a month from February until November each year. 39 cafes have diverted more than 2 tonnes from landfill. We're building skills and community. 270 plus previous customers are on our newsletter list, and we have a pool of about a dozen to 20 volunteers that make it all happen. However, it's a core group. So it's a core group that make it happen. Electrical and electronic goods make up our largest type of product bought in to be fixed. We also fix clothing, furniture, clocks, bikes, toys, etc. We have funding from Nelson City Council since the early days, which has helped cover our costs. We also collect koha, which makes us financially viable just about. Next year, we are anticipating the need to find funding from other sources as Council's ability to fund gets more squeezed. We get new customers and see previous customers every month. We believe we are changing behaviour. I'll now show a short video made to promote our Repair Cafe. So we also use a great resource that's been created locally called Wasteless, which is a website set up by Sharon Brinston, who's a member of the Zero Waste related group of the forum. It's a website that lists almost 300 options in the region for repair, reuse, share, refill, compost and recycling, etc. 95 of those listings are for repair options throughout the region, from wetsuits to cars, all sorts of things in between. And we promote this website to our Repair Cafe customers, especially if they have an item for repair that we are unable to service. So I'll now So Jude Ritchie is the health and safety volunteer and gluten-free baker for the monthly Motueka Repair Cafe. And Jude has taken this video from last week's Repair Cafe. So I'll show that now.
Oh, no sound. These guys have a great story, and it's about the woman in red. She's a Scottish woman. There's no way she wants to have to buy something new. This was her item. So she's talking about that. And then the chap, he's talking about his car cassette player, and he wants that repaired because you can't buy another one. And if that doesn't get fixed, then all his cassettes, all his music, they're out. So he's not happy about that. So that's why they're here. Because I asked them, why are you here? Why don't you just dump it? And that's where I got a great story. And this guy talks about a pair of gloves that were left from his dad. And they've been in the garage for 15 years, all because there's a bit of sewing that needs to be done on one of the fingers. And there's our marvelous shared leather worker who's very fit and able to repair these leather gloves. And this is Muriel telling us about how she's weighing this, because in terms of gathering information, then we know what is being saved from the landfill in terms of weight. And then I point out that there's a cafe. Look at that lovely food there. I'm not sure about that finger though. Who's that doing some lovely hand sewing? And then I just go through some elements that a good craft worker has regarding their tools. And then I'm just asking Kelly here what she's doing. And this was an outdoor belt pouch for an outdoor worker, and it had been fixed several times with metal and things like that and staples, and now she's just returning it back to a better way of fixing it. And what a hero she is. Yeah, and just appreciating the fact that these things are specialized.
So thank you, Jude. That's a great little video, and so we'll move on now, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I'll pass over to Dr. Chris Wheatley, who is our retired biological scientist who is gravely concerned about climate change. He has been involved with the forum since its inception in 2020, firstly as convener of the Nature and Climate Group of the Forum, and since 2023 with the global Take the Jump behaviour change movement that promotes positive personal actions to reduce carbon emissions. While the initial focus was on the Nelson Tasman region, more recently expanded across Aotearoa, New Zealand. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Karen, and kia ora koutou. So yeah, the Take the Jump campaign or project is part of the Nelson Tasman Climate Forum. It's as Karen said, it's grown beyond the region now to have some sort of national presence as well. It's a campaign or a movement for personal action to reduce carbon emissions and reduce consumption. Also, it's fun, it's social, and it aims to engage people who are not environmentally aware but are concerned about climate change, to get us out and beyond our echo chamber. It's global. It started in the UK in 2022 based on scientific studies and strong evidence. We started it in Nelson Tasman in 2023, and by last year it had started to spread beyond to the rest of New Zealand. So it comprises 7 lifestyle shifts or jumps, of which 2 are most relevant to the repair movement. So I'll go through these and come to the 2 most relevant ones last of all. So first of all, there's the travel fresh, which involves moving from fossil fuel transport towards more active travel, walking or biking or public transport, taking the bus where you can. So trying to minimize the number of car journeys and especially fossil fuel petrol car journeys. Holiday local, which is about reducing the number of flights we take. Sort of flying is the largest single personal expenditure of carbon source of carbon emissions that most people have if you are flying. If you can cut back on flying, that makes a huge difference. And so flying less, staying longer, making it count, but also trying to explore local areas. So rather than flying off overseas, holiday local. Eat green, which is moving away from especially beef and lamb, which are we know associated with methane production, towards more plant-based and local foods and composting as well. So all these things that we know about that are sort of positive from an environmental perspective. A couple of New Zealand tweaks to this are first of all that sort of cultural harvesting, kai moana, and so on is fine. And also hunting wild game, which takes pigs, deer, goats, and so on out of our forest is climate positive too. And so that source of meat is actually fine within this shift. Okay, get planting is a shift that we've introduced to the New Zealand Take the Jump. It's not present in global movement because we wanted to link this climate action to our other crisis, which is around biodiversity and the threats to our ecosystems. And so get planting is everything around sort of nature conservation, not just the planting, but we try to look at that quite widely. And change the system is involving sort of larger actions, how personally we can start to have a bigger influence on government and business, especially thinking of finance, where your KiwiSaver and other investments are what sort of enterprises, businesses those are supporting, what funds you're in, and also obviously direct action, protest, petitioning government, submissions, and all of that. And there's also that's where the right to repair would come in, and obviously there's been some blockages there recently. The 2, if we could move on to the next one now, Karen. Yeah. So the 2 most relevant, one of them is end clutter, which is around, this is where repair comes in. Obviously, the big message here is because most of the carbon emissions are associated with our electronic devices. And people tend to change these rather often. So the big message is try and keep our electronic products for at least 7 years. Which may involve repair, upgrades, and so on. And so to think about those when you purchase products. And the next one, Karen, which is, okay, so this is dress retro. This is, again, trying to reduce the amount of clothes we buy, fast fashion, and so on. The take-home message here is try to only buy 3 new items of clothing per year, not counting underwear and shoes. So this obviously involves our op shops and repair cafes, so on, that we've heard about earlier in this webinar. I'd also like to give a shout out to Textile ResQ, which I think you'll be hearing from them in a minute. But just to say that this jacket that I'm wearing is an upcycled garment from the Textile ResQ crew here in Nelson as well. Okay, next one, please, Karen. So putting all these together are 7 things that we can do. We've got a website here. You can sign up to try these shifts for 1, 3, or 6 months. There's also some more detailed information and training we can give through online ambassador trainings about 3 times a year. Okay, next one, Karen. But there's what we call the DNA, the foundations behind Take the Jump, which are also very important. And this what turns it into a movement. And there are five. We've got five key foundations. So the next slide will show those. So first is trying is enough. In other words, we're not expecting everyone to make these radical shifts in one fell swoop, but just to do what you can with those shifts that where you can make a difference, you can do something. And so just getting on this journey is great, and that needs celebrating. The second one is no more us and them. So no shaming. Where a lot of people, it's not easy to make these changes. Maybe they have to do some of these things where we don't have public transport. They have to use their car. So there's no shaming involved here. We do what we can, and we're not trying to create an us and them, holier than thou attitude. The third one is jump for joy, that this can be fun. There's a lot of positives in making these shifts. The using your bike, for instance, go biking, that's a huge positive, and good for your health. The same with eat green, right? The health and the positive aspects of some of these things. And many of these shifts also quite social activities. And so there's joy that comes with community, and we try and build on that as well. The fourth one, same access, different responsibility. In other words, we want to be inclusive. Everyone can get involved with Take the Jump, but some people who have higher emissions, maybe who fly more, use the car more or whatever, have a higher level of responsibility to make these changes, to make these jumps. And the fifth one is that it will make a difference, that doing this will help to get us over get us to meet the goals that we have in terms of reducing carbon emissions. And the next slide, Karen, will bring up that. So what we need to do over the next, or at least by the early 2030s, less than 10 years now, is to reduce by 2/3 the carbon emissions of the developed countries, if you like, the G20 countries, the wealthier countries. But we're not going to do that just with the 10 or 12% of people who are environmentally aware. But next slide, please. Yeah. But what we know is that about 80% of citizens in G20 countries are concerned about climate change, but they feel powerless and confused and don't know what to do about it. And so that's where Take the Jump comes in, that we're providing these clear messages around what they can do. And so it's a question of getting the word out there beyond our own echo chamber into the sort of 50% of the population maybe who are easily persuadable to get started on this journey. Thank you. Next one. And what the science shows is that if we as people, individuals and households and families get on board this and make these changes, that will get us about 27% of the way towards the goal that we need to keep climate temperature increases to a safe level. The rest of it, the other 70-odd%, is government and business, and that's where the system change shift comes in, of making sure that they do their part as well. Okay, next one, please. Right, and I just want to emphasize again that this is a fun activity, that we've had quite a number of groups involved. We have parties around this, and I think that's what the guy who started this in the UK says, that if you want to change the world, you have to show people that you can throw a better party, that we're the ones having more fun doing this, and then people will want to join us. And so that's what we're trying to do here as well. Next one, thanks. And also collective action. And so we've got people who've become Take the Jump ambassadors across a number of local councils, in district and city councils in New Zealand, from Auckland down to Invercargill. We've got different community groups involved. We've got youth people. We've got a group of students at Auckland University of Technology now very much involved, and some businesses here in Nelson too. So yeah, we've started to make some progress around here, and this is the way to go, I think. Next one, please. what we'd like to do is obviously what we've been doing is raising awareness. We've got this website that you can go and visit. We've been doing webinars, hui, expos, had presence at fairs, involved with some schools, and we're going to be building on this in the future. If any of you are interested in getting more involved, go to the website. We'll have another round of online ambassador training going on later this year. So far, we've got about over 100 ambassadors within the movement in New Zealand now, half of them in Nelson Tasman and half over the rest of the country. We've also done some training within the PSA, the Professional Service Association, in the public sector. So we've now got Take the Jump ambassadors across several ministries, departments, and other agencies around the country. And with the Ora Te Ao network of health professionals as well, we've got people engaged there. I mentioned already the AUT students. So that you can see how this is spreading, and if you'd like to help us to spread it further, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. That was awesome. And yeah, it's a really exciting program, and definitely lots of joy involved. So I'd now like to welcome Sylvia Huxtable. Sylvia represents the work of Tasman Bay Textile ResQ. She is part of the steering group and has been involved since the group first started 2.5 years ago. And so over to you, Sylvia.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Sylvia Huxtable aho, no Textile ResQ. We, as Karen just said, we were formed in 2023 by a group of women in Nelson with a passion for the environment and creativity. I'll be showing slides of our products during my talk. We acknowledge the work of Intercept in Whangarei, who established a similar group. We're a non-profit, and our goal is to reduce textile waste, as well as generating an income, so our initiative becomes sustainable and self-supporting. We're coordinated by a steering group of 5, and we've got a group of about 25 volunteers who are mending and making saleable items from discarded textiles. We only work with natural fibres. There are 5 main threads to our work. 1, save textiles from going to landfill by repairing and upcycling. And a quote here, 1/2 ton of clothing goes to landfill in New Zealand every 5 minutes, according to Jacinta Fitzgerald, who's the CEO of Mindful Fashion, which is a New Zealand organisation. Another thread to our work is education. We're committed to promoting our message about textile waste through community engagement and working in schools. And I'll talk about this a bit more in a minute. Third thread is reject fast fashion. So fast fashion produces between 8 to 10% of global CO2 emissions. That's more than international air travel and maritime shipping combined, according to the World Economic Forum report in 2020. Our fourth thread is bringing people together. We hold make and mend sessions twice a week, and we also provide monthly Saturday workshops. Our volunteers really enjoy the social aspects of working together and learning from each other while repairing and creating new products with upcycled materials. These sessions have become an important part of the social lives for this group of people. The fifth are our partnerships. We partnered with Nelson Tasman Hospice Shops and our sales support fundraising for hospice. More about our education work. We work with the education sector. We provide support and free materials for local schools running textiles classes. We actively support local enviro schools, and they had a great initiative earlier this year to set up a pop-up shop selling used clothing for the school balls this year. So ResQ volunteers went along to these pop-up shops, and we ran free repairs and alterations as were necessary. We had funding from Nelson City Council to run 2 community-based workshops, one on speed weaving and the other on making bags from denim. We also ran a series of evening classes at Waimea College on upcycling and repair. The Nelson Environment Centre is our umbrella organisation, and they're very supportive of our work. And we also work with other local environmental initiatives, such as the Nappy Library, and we repair the elastic in reusable nappies, and they redistribute them. We received a waste minimisation grants. We received 2 from the Nelson City Council for the purchase of an overlocker and an industrial sewing machine. The latter has been extremely useful in our work with denim, which otherwise destroys people's sewing machines. And so we can do much, tougher sewing. Our products are made to a high standard, and we have professional seamstresses and textile teachers in our group. We produce quality clothing and crafts, as you can see in the slides here. So if you want more information, there's a slide at the end, Karen, which has our website and our email. And there's also a Facebook page that you can access if you want to have a closer look.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Sorry, the slides seem to have stopped, so but I've caught them back up again. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sylvia. I bought one of your jackets from the Nelson Hospice shop for I've just come back from the Repair Cafe Aotearoa hui. So I wore that proudly all the way through the hui. So it was beautiful. I loved it.
Fantastic. Great.
Yeah, and I told everybody where I got it from as well. So I'll now introduce Karen Lee, who is going to be talking about the work that our local Nelson City and Tasman District Councils have been doing related to repair activities. Over to you, Karen.
Kia ora koutou. Ko Karen Lee toki ingoa no Ingahangi Aho. I nāne e noho ana aho ki Waimiha I te Waikunamu. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. So thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm coming at this from the perspective of if other people in other regions are thinking about getting involved in repair and building a culture of repair, how local government might be relevant or helpful to them. So I will start, first of all, with some background on where we got involved. The first thing to look at really is with local government is how does our legislation support repair? And how is it relevant to people who are thinking of getting involved in repair? So the really critical thing if you're working with local government is to have an understanding of their waste management and minimisation plan. This document provides strategic goals for regional waste minimisation, and it's really the starting point for any conversation that you're going to have. Next slide, please, Karen. So here we are looking at the council's waste management I can't even talk today. Sorry, people. Council's Waste Management and Minimisation Plan, Action Plan. Nelson City Council and Tasman District Council share a plan, and collaboration has always been the name of the game. We've just actually adopted a new plan with measurable goals and an aspiration of our region becoming waste-free together. To do this, we've got 5 focus areas with a range of actions, including a specific focus on repair in Area 2, although all the focus areas relate. This is the action plan which allows our council to spend waste levy funding returned to us by the government destined for waste minimisation. And any action that we are going to undertake has to be in this plan for us to be able to spend the waste levy money in this way. What this plan also does is give us a pathway, both Nelson City Council and Tasman District Council, for which action should be investigated and or implemented, and a timeline. In our case, because we have a shared plan, but each area is actually quite different. So each council may have some variations in how they actually deliver their plan. So as I said, if you in a different region are looking at repair, looking at this plan is a really good starting point. And also check perhaps if there's community development funding available as well. Typically, you might be able to access grants through building good collaboration with council teams, and also benefit from councils promoting your activities through their channels. Next slide, please, Karen. So how did we as councils go about supporting the growth of repair in Nelson Tasman? So in the previous waste management plan, which ran from 2019 to 25, Nelson City Council identified repair as an important aspect to delivering the plan, but we also noted there was no existing capacity. And first of all, I want to acknowledge the amazing work that's done by Repair Café Aotearoa at a national level, because that was our starting point for these conversations as well. So the initial thing we decided to do as a council was run a couple of trial repair cafes, just basically so we could test drive all the processes before volunteers took over the process, because we thought that probably would save some time and effort and make life easier for everybody. So we ran 2 repair cafes, which Karen's referred to. Originally, we called them Fix It Saturday to go with our other event, Secondhand Sunday, but then moved to the international approach of how repair cafes are referred to. We really enjoyed running these repair cafes. There were lots of very useful learnings. The first couple of cafes had involvement from Mitre 10 and Men's Shed. But what we all know is repair events start out small, and that was possibly over-resourcing. So eventually really developed the volunteer approach. Nelson City Council has also been offering waste minimisation grants for some time. But after running the first 2 repair cafes, we decided that repair needed its own grant funding strand to give it a fair chance to get set up. So for 3 years, we created a separate waste minimisation grant strand, which has been used and referred to previously both for Textile ResQ, for the Climate Forum repair cafes, for other repair cafe activities. At the end of that funding period, we've moved our role back to being a funder and supporting promotion. And I forgot to mention at the start of this session, I know I was previously the waste advisor for Nelson City Council, which is why I'm speaking in some detail about this. But I'm now working on a freelance basis supporting Tasman District Council, so very familiar with all of this background. Tasman District Council has also played an important role in bringing repair to their region, particularly with grant funding for repair cafes and staff support. So when you're thinking about repair in your region, in summary, local government can play an important role strengthening the repair community, and understanding how local government works in this respect is really important for anyone looking to get involved in repair cafes in your region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. That was awesome. Yeah, it's really good to get that council perspective into this webinar, and we're very appreciative of council support through the waste management and minimisation plan, and there's also support through the Climate Forum as well.
I should mention, Karen,
there's all
as well.
the climate strategy, yeah.
I sorry.
Go on.
I didn't. I thought you'd finished speaking. I should mention as well, Sylvia, that I'm also got one of your jackets that I wear all the time, and it is wonderful. Back to you, Karen.
Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, so better close now. So thank you so much, everybody that's listened in. Thank you so much for those the speakers today. It's been really good, and I hope yeah, and we've got this recorded, so hopefully it'll be useful. And yeah, so I'll close with a karakia. Unahia, unahia, unahia ki te urutapu nui, kia wātea, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, me te wairua I te ara takatū, koia rā e rongo o whakairia ake ki runga, kia wātea ai rā kua wātea, rire rire hau, pai ngā rire. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much everybody, and have a good rest of the day.